You've heard of sham charities, some even getting shut down, but we've uncovered that many of the professional fundraising companies making calls for those charities are still at work, still pulling at your heartstrings to donate. She's been dead for 5 years and she still gets solicited?
Yes, that is correct.
The junk mail for Jennifer Bell's late relative still stacks up.
It makes me livid.
The pile of solicitations sent to an 87-year-old woman who suffered from dementia.
He'd actually been writing checks to everyone, charities, real and fake.
The donations to charities through professional fundraising companies cleared out her bank account. How much did she give?
She gave away her entire house. She took out a reverse mortgage on her home and she gave it all away to charities and scams. Everything was gone.
She says some of the charities the money went to were good.
This one's just flat out fake.
Others gave false promises to help those in need.
It's disgusting.
So she gave to veterans charities?
Oh, 100%.
Veterans charities that weren't legit?
That weren't real.
Investigate TV discovered regulators shut down many sham charities while the hired fundraising companies remain in business. Colonel Jim Folson runs a charity with high ratings from independent watchdog groups. His charity helps families of wounded veterans.
I saw firsthand dead and wounded Marines. I think that's certainly focused my attention on what happens when they come home.
His charity stands in stark contrast to one called Help the Vets. The Federal Trade Commission sued Help the Vets for spending 95% of its $11 million in donations on the charity's executives and on its fundraisers.
It diverts people's donations who want to help veterans, in this example, away from the good charities who are doing good work.
While Help the Vets can't solicit donations anymore, one of its telefundraisers, Donor Relations, continues to work for other veterans and first responder charities.
The outside fundraising industry that focuses on telephone and certain kinds of mailing are really suspect.
Iowa Attorney General Tom Miller's office has penalized dozens of bad actors in the industry.
It is a difficult enforcement dynamic.
Because he says many of these telefundraisers can be difficult to track down.
The charity is in one spot, and we know how and where to deal with it. The telemarketers move around. They're very elusive. Yeah, it's like whack-a-mole to some extent in dealing with them, so unfortunately that is.
The Vietnam National Headquarters charity promised to help Vietnam vets. Instead, in 2016, we found 90% of the nearly $3 million raised went to professional fundraisers. Vietnam paid one fundraiser, Donor Relations, $431,000. Another company, Midwest Publishing, received $500,000. The Illinois Attorney General forced Vietnam to shut down, but only sanctioned one of its 10 professional fundraisers, Safety Publications. It made $81,000. The AG wrote the company misled the donating public on how the donations would be used.
I think that there should be tighter restrictions on the nonprofit industry.
Kevin Scally works at Charity Navigator, which evaluates and rates more than 9,000 charities.
People should be informed about their giving.
With little enforcement and regulation, Scally says donors need to educate themselves. A good way, go to Charity Navigator's website. Scally says a 3 or 4 star rated charity is good. Anything below, maybe not. Experts say be cautious of charities that spend a large amount of money on fundraising. More than 30% of expenses on fundraising, that's problematic?
I would say so, yes.
We reviewed IRS documents for dozens of charities and found a long list directing 75, 80, upwards of 90% of the money raised to pay for fundraising. Many of these charities had one thing in common, the same professional fundraiser, a company called Outreach Calling. The company has a secret of existence. Its online presence, nothing more than a listing for a mailing address in Reno, Nevada. Its listed company headquarters. An online search shows that address is advertised as a virtual office. We found another address for the company in New Jersey. Operators of this liquor store tell Investigate TV Outreach Calling used to operate a call center on the second floor. The listed owner of the company is Damian Muziani. He claims his address is here, this UPS store in New Jersey. Muziani is an aspiring actor.
If it does not warm your heart, no problem. But I'm not giving you a refund.
But according to New York's Attorney General, the company is controlled by Mark Gelvin. The AG says because of his ties to sham charities, Gelvin is permanently barred from the professional fundraising industry in New York. Yet that appears to have done little to stop Outreach Calling from asking for donations. The company continues to raise money for charities tied to first responders, the military, and supporting cancer patients, even after charities it works for get shut down. One of the most egregious, the Disabled Police and Sheriff's Foundation. The mission sounds worthy: to provide assistance to disabled law enforcement officers and to the survivors of law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty. But a review of 6 years of tax records show each year 91% of the money this nonprofit raises pays for the fundraising. Outreach Calling is the top paid fundraiser for the foundation. In those 6 years, Outreach Calling raised $9.5 million. The charity kept less than $1 million of that money to help disabled law enforcers and sent $8.5 million back to Outreach Calling. The charity is now closed, but it's the type Jennifer Bell's relative would have given to.
It's tragic because veterans and first responders, they actually do need help for various problems. And these people are manipulating the elderly to give to those problems when they really aren't.
Do these companies take advantage of the elderly?
I believe that they do.
But these telefundraisers have proven tough to shut down. Another reason why: a 2003 Supreme Court ruling that essentially says what a charity pays a fundraiser is protected by the First Amendment. Freedom of speech protects these companies from many sanctions, but it also allows Jennifer Bell to tell these same companies what she truly thinks of them.
They're evil, they're manipulative, they specifically target the weakest people in our country, and they should all be shut down.
The charities and fundraisers mentioned in this story either declined interviews or never responded.